Hello, and welcome to Parents Guide to Gaming. The games on this list are coming out the week of October 18th, 2016. The first game on our list is Exist Archive: The Other Side of the Sky. This is coming out on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita. The rating is teen. The content descriptors are blood, fantasy violence, language, and suggestive themes. This is a role-playing game in which players control a group of young fighters as they try to save the world from evil forces. As players explore game environments, they engage in turn-based battles with fictional creatures. Characters use swords, pistols, and magic attacks to depict enemies' hit points. Enemies fall to the ground and disappear when defeated. Cutscenes sometimes depict characters with blood on their faces or clothes. Some scenes depicts a wounded character lying in a pool of blood. The game contains suggestive dialogue, including several references to breast size. A bathhouse scene, which is unseen, contains innuendos about men touching and caressing each other. Swear words also appear in the dialogue. Next is Superdimension Neptune vs. Sega Hard Girls. This is coming out on PlayStation Vita. The content descriptors are fantasy violence, language, and suggestive themes. This is a role-playing game in which players assume the role of goddess as she travels through time to save the past from destruction. As players explore dungeon-like environments across eras, they traverse platforms, collect items, engage in turn-based combat with various enemies. Characters use swords, magic attacks, and blaster-like weapons to defeat robots, demons, and human characters. Combat is highlighted by frequent light effects and cries of pain. Some female characters wear low-cut outfits to display cleavage and jiggling breasts. One scene involving a talking motorcycle contains suggestive innuendos. Swear words also appear in the dialogue. Next up is Batman: Return to Arkham. This is coming out on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. The rating is teen. The content descriptors are alcohol, tobacco references, blood, mild language, suggestive themes, and violence. This is an action-adventure game in which players assume the role of Batman as he fights his way through Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Players traverse through an island location battling enemies, examining crime scenes, and rescuing hostages. Players use punches, kicks, and various gadgets to defeat thugs and villains. Some attacks are enhanced with special effects. Players can also employ stealth takedowns to incapacitate enemies. During the course of the game, players sometimes come across characters being harmed by villains. There are also occasional depictions of unconscious and dead characters on the asylum floor. Streaks or pools of blood may appear near the bodies. The game includes some suggestive material, 2 female characters wearing provocative outfits that expose deep cleavage and or partial buttocks. A character that moans suggestively when she's in peril. Players are occasionally required to identify and track traces of whiskey and tobacco during missions. Swear words also are heard in the dialogue. The next game is Battlefield 1. This is coming out on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. The rating is mature. The content descriptors are blood, strong language, and violence. This is a first-person shooter set in various locations during World War I. As players progress through the storyline, they assume the roles of a fighter pilot, armed crewman, rebel fighter, and a message runner in order to complete message. Characters use rifles, pistols, machine guns, and grenades to kill enemy soldiers in frantic, realistic combat. Battles are highlighted by frequent gunfire, cries of pain, and explosions. Some sequences depict enemies wielding flamethrowers. Soldiers can be heard screaming while engulfed in flames. Players also use knives and bayonets to stab enemies in stealth attacks. Splashes of blood can be seen when enemies are hit. One sequence depicts blood and corpses on the beach after a battle. Swear words also appear in the dialogue. Civilization 6 is our next game. This is coming out on PC. The rating is everyone 10 and up. The content descriptors are drug references, language, mild violence, and suggestive themes. This is a strategy game in which players must guide their people through the ancient era through the spaceflight information age eras of human history. Players can develop their nation's culture, technology, manage its economy, social infrastructure, expand territory through military conquest. Combat with rival nations is present from a pulled-back overhead perspective, and military units are represented by small armies of soldiers on a grid map. Battles include animations of sword clashing, gunfights, and vehicular combat that results in icons collapsing, exploding, or disappearing. Historically based text from Wikipedia entries include suggestive material. The game also includes historical reference to the opium trade, and swear words appear in the text. The last game on our list is LEGO Harry Potter Collection. This is coming out on PlayStation 4. The rating is everyone 10 and up. The content descriptors are cartoon violence and crude humor. This is an adventure game in which players assume the role of small LEGO versions of Harry Potter and his friends as they practice magic spells and defeat enemy creatures at the Hogwarts Magic School. Players use a wand to fire blasts at ghostly figures, spiders, trolls, gigantic snakes, and other wizards. Players screech or cry out in pain when hit, and often break apart into smaller Lego pieces when defeated. Players sometimes engage in one-on-one wand duels that are accompanied by colorful explosions. In one cutscene, a character's body explodes, and the central character cradles the head piece. Another sequence depicts a dragon impaled through the mouth by a sword. In one sequence, brown Lego droppings fall out of a creature's posterior. A character scoops up the droppings with a shovel. Thank you to bensound.com for the music track. You can also follow Parents Guide to Game on Twitter at parentsg2g. We also have a daily blog at parentsg2g.blogspot.com, and you can email us with questions, concerns, or comments at parentsg2g@gmail.com. And thank you for watching.